We PhD students have so much of data and so much of information that we don't know where to keep and where to organize. I read one paper today and I realize I have to mark this. I read another paper tomorrow and I realize this information is linked to this. Then how do you get all the information together? How do you build a Notion database for a PhD student? And that is what we are going to see today. Now, whenever you take notes or whenever you take any kind of details with respect to your PhD, you can do it offline as well. You can write it. But the fact is that you will have to carry that notebook everywhere. I personally prefer a system that can sync across devices and I don't have to carry it specially anywhere. But nevertheless, I'm sure today's video is going to help you with respect to organization and collecting, storing, organizing different kind of information when it comes to your PhD. So what are we waiting for? Without further ado, let's begin. So this is my PhD workspace. There are 3 components for it and lately I have added the 4th one. Click on this. This is what the information material is. Whatever information is there, whether you are working with an experiment, you are doing something, so all that is there over here. So if I just click on the notes section, it's good to have icons for your pages. Things look quite presentable. So these are some of the things that come within the area of my work. So I have labeled it as protease, lipase, BMP, biomethane potential tests, and let me just click on the first one. And now this Notion has a cool feature of opening the note in a sidebar, so you can just see what is there. Like here I have my table of contents, characters, biochemical tests, and then these are the notes. Then here I have classified it as note. It's a research paper, concept, or a principle. So this just helps in good segregation, and I have sorted it accordingly for type to be ascending. So the notes which are there get displayed first and then the concepts and everything. This just helps me in preparing for any presentation. On to SOP. Now here I have categorized all the SOPs which are there. This is everything, and I know the list sounds exhaustive, but the best way to categorize this is use some tag. So I have put the SOPs for instrument. A centrifuge, if you use it over here in my lab and in other lab, the working principle may be same, but the starting time and the way the machine is structured, that is specific to a particular brand. Like for example, if in my college only, some labs have centrifuges with a lid, okay, some have without the lid. If a centrifuge has a lid, you cannot afford to forget that. So instrument, chemical analysis, microbial. If it's a reagent preparation, then what is the procedure? You have to enable all these properties. Like if I just click on options and properties, the tags are shown over here. So this helps in better categorizing. Even if you say suppose have 100 SOPs, then you can just filter it by tag, display only that. So let me show you. If I just want to say suppose related to chemical analysis, I want to see all the procedures related to chemical analysis. I'll go to tags, I'll tick mark chemical analysis, and you see now only I'm seeing procedures for chemical analysis. The best thing about Notion is that it's totally customizable and you can completely rely on it. This is my 4th year as a research scholar. I cannot think of anything better than Notion. If any note is not supposed to be current, if it has become obsolete, then it goes to PhD archives. And this is my tip to all research scholars also. Don't discard anything. You make a separate folder in your computer or in your Notion if it's a note and put everything in archives. You never know what may come handy later during your thesis writing. And this is something that I'm working on, and I'll tell more about this later. We have a poster presentation every 6 months. So these are the things that are usually there. Moving on to the results section. Whenever you are showing the results to your supervisor or you just want to have a discussion, then I suggest you put it in a Notion page rather than a presentation, and I'll show you how to do it. So if I just take micropollutants as the first one, trimethoprim, and I'll just take a random one, part 3 say suppose. Then you can write objective, standard. If you have anything from Excel, you can just paste it over here. Sample results, conclusion. I personally love this way of discussion rather than a presentation. Say suppose you are told to do a literature review. At this point of time, what I was doing was I was checking what are the different primer sequences for all the Methanosarcina species, because that is the organism that I'm working on, Methanosita species and all that. If you check the literature, every Methanosarcina DNA has a different primer, isn't it? So you have to check in literature and see which are the best journals and take from there. Okay, it's a hit and trial method. When it comes to literature review, this is something that you can do. This is the journal, authors, primer sequence, whether it is reverse primer or forward primer or just a primer, the sequence and the file. Okay, so if your supervisor asks you to do something like this, then you can arrange it this way and it becomes better to take decisions rather than just say verbally that this all the research is going on and this. Here you can actually see, the supervisor can see actually what the literature review you have done and actually make a decision based on the data. So these are the results and everything over here has a template. Always keep a template. Tomorrow if you have a page or if you want to make a new page with something else, you want to make a new note or something like that, you make this template, just go here, duplicate. You can just then rename it, say just anaerobic digestion. This template also has icon. If you just create a new page, the new page may not have the icon, so you just make a template and keep duplicating it. Moving on to the next section, that is literature. Whatever literature review or anything related to your paper, publication or anything, that goes over here. Technically speaking, even this should come over here, but anyway, I'll keep it over here. So like if you are writing an abstract, I recently submitted an abstract. So all the points I had written were here. So instead of just keeping things in folder or anything, you can just put in these sections and it becomes quite streamlined. One drawback of this is that the grammar correction tools of Notion, they are not up to date, but I hope and I believe that that update related to grammar correction will come soon. Microsoft Word has a better grammar correction, but nevertheless, I use Notion personally for all my brainstorming work, for all workflows that I want to do, for everything I write it over here. I personally find that I can put my thoughts better in Notion rather than a Microsoft Word. Recently I added this fourth category. Earlier only these three were there. So outreach means if you are presenting anywhere, anything that has to do with external, like recently I had my senior research fellow presentation, so that I've put over here. So this is the workflow. The best thing you can do to yourself, organize your entire PhD in one place. Okay, that could be Notion, that could be a Microsoft Word, that could be a notebook, it could be Obsidian, Evernote, anything, but organize everything in one place so you get a bird's eye view of how things work for you. I hope you have found today's video useful and I wish you all the best.